past that time by Sparrow, and the circus was on.
What's up, YouTube? It's Tyler Knight, YouTube Ty's Life. I'm about to be reacting to the craziest Larry Bird trash talk story ever told. This is by Prime Larry Bird. He has great videos. I don't think I've watched this one because he dropped it like 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I don't think I've reacted to this one yet. Yeah, but like, comment, subscribe. We're about to get into it. Hit that notification bell. And yeah, let's get it.
Story for you. I actually met Larry Bird before I went to the NBA. It was after my junior year in the summertime. We was at this nightclub just hanging out on a Saturday night, and we saw a bunch of tall guys walk in this nightclub, and we're looking like, damn, those guys are really tall. And as they started walking towards us, it was members of the Boston Celtics. You had Cedric Maxwell, you had Larry Bird, you had Kevin McHale, Quinn Buckner, and Larry Bird. So they walked into the back of the club. We kind of standing along the wall. Larry Bird walks right up to me and he goes, "Are you Kenny Walker?" And I go, "Yeah." You know, I was kind of shocked that he knew who I was. And he reached out his hand to shake my hand. He said, "My name is Larry Bird." And he said, "I can't wait till you get to the NBA to bust your ass." and he started laughing. I didn't know what to say. This is Larry Bird. So Rick Roby put his arms around me and he said, "Kenny, we've been out on the golf course. We've been having fun and all of that." He said, "Larry, he's had a little bit to drink and everything." And they stayed there and they cut up with us, you know, maybe for a half hour and talked and everything. And then they leave. And right when they get ready to leave, Larry Bird looks at me. He said, "Remember what I told you?" He said, "When you come to the NBA, I'm going to bust your ass." And I just laughed and everything. They went on their way. So when I get drafted in the NBA,
the New York Knickerbockers select Kenny Walker of the University of Kentucky.
This is after my senior year. First game in Boston Garden. So we get there a couple hours before the game. Larry Bird is already out there shooting. So I go in the locker room, I change my clothes, and I go out early to shoot. And when I go out, he's finishing up his workout, and he walks past me and he said, "Hey, man, I knew you would be in the NBA." He said, I watched you in college.
And missed the layup. Walker slams the rebound.
He said, "Welcome." He said, "I knew you was going to be here." He said, "But you remember what I told you?" And I just laughed. And then he.
So let me know if you want me to react to Kenny Walker. Just from that dunk, that was filthy. He seemed like an athletic specimen. Just from that one dunk that I saw, he did like a backbreaker, like cocked it back, tomahawk. Just he's about to shatter the glass. Like let me know, because I don't really know about Kenny Walker like that. I don't really know about him at all. So yeah, let me know. Was he a really good basketball player in the NBA, or was he just one of those guys that were like really good in college and then being okay in the league? Let me know. Let me know if he's worth a watch to watch his highlights. Let me know. All right.
Went to the locker room. So the game starts, right? And I got to guard Larry Bird. You know, he's playing small forward, and I'm a rookie. So the very first shot of the game is a 3-point shot right in my face.
Bird from 3-point range.
And, I mean, he didn't even hesitate. He just pulled up and hit a three, and he's running down the court. He's backpedaling down the court. He's got a little smirk on his face. We go down, we miss the shot, and the very next play, the very next possession, another 3-pointer.
Have to go and come back, get back into it.
And the very next play, the very next possession, another 3-pointer right there.
Oh, Kenny. Oh, my goodness.
Ain't got an ocean from 3-point range, but Bird fires from 3. So Larry Bird has taken 2 from three-point territory, and he has hit them all.
And he runs by Hubie Brown, who's the coach of the New York Knicks at the time, and he said, Hubie, you better get this rookie off of me or I'm going to get 50 tonight. And he's talking stuff and everything. Now, I'm glad to tell you he didn't get 50, but he did end up with 44.
Oh, my goodness.
You know, he torched me pretty good, and he let me know about it.
Now Walker chasing Bird around.
Haynes dumps it off to Bird. Larry gets Walker up, rolls it in at the buzzer.
Ball handlers.
Bird wants to go on Kenny Walker. Tough shot. Got it.
Kenny Walker is getting an education.
Bird off the fake. And then gets it up. It counts.
Out of sight. Oh, what a shot.
Even though Kenny Skywalker was a slam dunk champion and one of the most athletic players to ever play the game,
Move with the legs flying, the arms going. Another look at it coming in. Watch the plant. There's the cup. Look at how he's just flying. Everything's going way out. The little spin, the pirouette, the legs up in the air. Now the big windmill, throw through with power, and the legs.
So this is where I know him from. Okay. So I was saying before, I don't really know about him, but I've seen his face before. It was definitely in the dunk contest. Because when they would have All-Star Weekend, they'll do the playbacks, and yeah, I would see his face. So yeah. Okay, so he was known as a dunker.
Still flying as Patrick Ewing gives him the big cheer for a great dunk on the part of Kenny Walker.
just guess who Kenny Skywalker said was the toughest player he ever
Call him
had to guard.
Skywalker. That makes sense.
Bird with the fling that goes glass, plus the foul committed by Walker for Walker, his third.
For me, Larry Bird, what was the toughest guy to guard? Yeah, he was a little bit tougher than Dominique, James Worthy, Scottie Pippen, so Dennis Rodman. So I went against a lot of really good ones, and they were all good. You know, I got a chance to go play against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Dr. J before they retired, Artis Gilmore, and guys like that, Moses Malone. And then, of course, the stars that were in their prime at that time, you had Magic and Charles Barkley and Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, Alonzo Mourning, Patrick Ewing, who I played with in New York. I had played against, I think, 32 of the 50 greatest players of all time. I mean, the competition was fierce. And every night, I mean, when I say every night, I mean, there was only 24 teams in the league at that time. And every night you had to go against somebody that was really, really good. But Bird was the toughest one of them all. Slow, couldn't jump. It's the damnedest thing, guys. Slow, can't jump, not that quick. But when you get out there and you play against Larry Bird, he thinks the game before things happen.
McNeely playing.
The fact that a guy can name all those players, like we even talked about, can't remember his name. One of the guys that used to be the coaches in the Celtics organization, and then he ended up being, I think, a GM. And he was talking about Larry Bird, and he was naming off Bill Russell. He named Michael Jordan. He named Magic Johnson. He named Wilt, I think, or no, he named Kareem, not Wilt. And amongst those four players, he was talking about how Larry Bird stood out. This guy here, he named all the guys he had to play against, he had to guard, all the small forwards. He named all those guys. Most of them were top 50. Maybe all of them were top 50. And he said Larry Bird was the best out of all of them, and he was the toughest to guard out of all of them. So it's like, in that era back then, he was the best. He was the best. Because it's like every time someone would name the best players at that moment, they would say Larry Bird is the best. He is. So back then, I believe he was probably the GOAT before Michael Jordan took off, before Michael Jordan even won any championships. But while Larry Bird was in the league, I believe it was either him or Kareem at the time. It was him or Kareem or even Magic. But I believe at that time, he was probably the most skilled people ever seen before, the most successful people seen. And yeah, I think all around he was probably the best to ever touch a basketball at that moment. Yeah, so based off of like what the players are saying, he just stands out amongst the greats. He stands out amongst the Hall of Famers. He stands out amongst the top 50. You know what I'm saying? So he has to have some type of impact on the players. And this is not just opinions from the media. This is his peers. This is the players he had to play against. These are actually professional basketball players that played in the NBA. So once he's getting respect from them, like what the media says, what anybody else has to say, if they haven't touched a hardwood and they haven't had to go against Larry Bird, their opinion is not valued as much as a player that played in the NBA and had to tie up their shoes, put on that jersey, and have to guard Larry Bird. Because once you have to guard Larry Bird, you're going to war. And it's not an easy task at all. And everybody says it's the toughest task they had to deal with in the NBA. So, yeah. He was somebody, man. He was that guy, man. He was really that guy.
Bird with a pretty pass for Day.
He's always in the right place for the rebound.
McHale. And Bird keeps it alive.
He can pass and shoot with either hand.
Fundamental. He's going crazy.
He's got a fadeaway shot that I don't care how high you can jump, you just can't stop it.
All of a sudden it disappears.
Yeah, like I was saying, his fadeaway jump shot, no matter how high you jump, you're not getting to it because he shoots behind his head. It's super quick, right into the pocket, seamless, and he does it at the right time when you're expecting it, but you're not going to get to it because he does it really quick. And he gets you. He pulls up when you're not really prepared to get to the shot. At least we're prepared to contest Larry Bird's shot. I don't think anybody to ever touch the court was prepared to guard Larry Bird or contest his shot, because it's like it's so quick behind his head, release, and before you know, it's at the bottom of the rim. So, yeah.
Bird takes a fall away, hits it off the glass. Yeah, Larry's having one of those nights that no matter what he throws up, it's got a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta appreciate
Like
that
that.
Kenny Walker is a quick player, fast, reacts well. And Larry Bird just beat him with that fall-away jump shot.
And plus, at that time, he talked more trash than probably anybody that was playing the game.
And Day. Bird.
Marv, that shot by Bird seemed to defy some physical law of nature. Bird escaping Kenny Walker, finding himself in a most awkward position. Kenny Walker's being punished for some reason by Larry Bird. I don't know why. He's a nice guy.
He's a great guy, though, man. I see Larry Bird. I still see him, at games in different places from time to time. And I'm going, man, it was awesome to be out on the court with some of the best people to ever do it.
Played by Gerald Wilkins. Larry Bird over Kenny Walker. 47 for Bird, who is having a sensational afternoon.
And while Larry Bird was trash talking Kenny Skywalker, there was one superstar who Larry Bird never said one word to in his entire 10 years that they played against each other. And he happened to be Kenny Skywalker's teammate, Bernard King, who was one of the greatest scorers in NBA history.
Off to Bernard King. Blows right by Maxwell. Comes in the lane. What a shot at
Y'all can find a video of why Larry Bird never really said a word to Bernard King throughout his whole career, or most of his career. Let me know. Because it's like, there's so many stories of Larry Bird talking trash to everybody that he had to guard or was going against him. Or he usually targets like the best player or the rookie. So it's like, why was he not talking to Bernard King? Because he was the best player on the New York Knicks for sure. One of the greatest scorers of all time. So why didn't he say anything to him?
foul. Bernard King, and listen to this crowd.
but never got trash talked by Larry Bird because Larry Bird had a secret long-term plan for Bernard King all along.
Well, two of the greatest players in the game today. King and Bird going head-to-head here.
And watch Larry Bird. He has Bernard on his hip. Watch the little lob pass from Ainge. Bird scores. He's been on a tear.
Well, Bird, I couldn't defend Bird at all. Bird was the toughest player I've ever had to face. The guy is 6'10", I'm 6'7".
And it's now 5-0 the Knicks as Bird connects on the inside. Bird at 6'9", easily shot over.
You can pass over the top of me, put the ball on the floor. He's a great rebounder and obviously a great scorer.
Here you're going to see King and Bird working now. Look at Larry Bird moving without the ball. A little elbow. Bird still moving. There they are, still working. Elbows upside the head defensively.
Bird. Bird's in 9 in a row.
And so Bird, for me, was the toughest matchup I ever had during the course of my career.
Bird faked right around.
Yeah, that's another guy saying it. And he's one of the greatest scorers of all time. He was the toughest matchup. How was Bernard King's defense? Let me know. Was he known for his defense? Even then, the fact that Bernard King is that great of a player and he says it. Dominique says it. Like, so many players have said it. Charles Barkley. Shoot, there's a whole list. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy. So, like, going down that whole list, like, I would want to, like, know, or hopefully, like, they do it one time in the media, like, when they get, how they have ex-players in the media, like Shaq, Charles Barkley. It would be really cool if they did, like, a whole list. Well, Shaq never played against Larry, but players that played against Larry, like the 80s, 90s, or whatever, players, if they could rank all the players they played against and who was the hardest to guard, and get a whole survey and see what the answer is. Because based off of what I've seen, a lot of players say it's Larry. And I don't know if they play against Larry and Jordan. I don't know who would say or what they would say. I'm assuming they would say Michael Jordan, but depends when they played Larry Bird. If they played Larry Bird in his prime, okay, then we could talk, because Larry Bird in his prime might have even been tougher to guard than Jordan. Let me know, who do you think was harder to guard, Larry Bird or Jordan? Let me know.
Bernard King and buried it. Nice little pump fake by Larry Bird.
And here's the thing about it: Bird and I never once said a word to one another on the court. Ever. Never. In the entire 10-year period that we played against each other. But here's something you don't know, Max. So after I come back from my injury,
and back the other way is Reggie Theus. Look out! King hurt himself as he gave the foul on Theus.
I came back for 6 games. I averaged 22 points a game. I established that I can still play, and I'm healthy. So now I'm a free agent. I got a call from Bob. I'm to be Larry Bird's attorney, and said, Bernard, the Celtics are interested in signing you. You didn't know that. And so I get on the plane. I fly to Boston. I can't believe I'm going to Boston, right? So I get on the plane. I fly to Boston, and I meet with Red Auerbach, Casey Jones, and Al Lincoln. And Red is sitting there smoking a cigar, and he says to me, Bernard, why do you want to play for the Celtics? We have a pretty good small forward here. Alluding to Bird without saying his name. Yeah. And I said, I want to win the championship. That was the end of the meeting. By the time I got back to Bob Wolf's office, they made an offer. You guys made an offer.
Wow.
And I knew I would not have been there in that office with those guys if Bird didn't give his blessing. In the interim, while I was meeting with the Celtics, the Washington Bullets called, and the offer was double what Boston offered. So I had to take it. It was a different era then. We didn't make the kind of money the guys are making today. And I'll never forget this, Max. The first game of that season, we played the Celtics.
Bernard King, Moses Malone, and Jeff Malone in the starting lineup.
And Bird, remember, we never talked for 10 years. Bird walked by me and he said, "You cost me a championship."
Damn. That's the first word he ever spoke to you.
Yeah, that's what he said to me.
Eddie Ainge to inbound.
You say you cost me a championship, or he said you cost yourself a championship? I would think he meant that Bernard King caused himself a championship because it's like if he would have been on Boston, like would have got a chip because like it's him and Larry Bird. Bernard King seemed like he could still play. Like he averaged 20-something points after injury. So I mean, like come on now. I would think that's what he was saying.
For the Celtics, trailing by 1, 2 seconds left. In the Bird, he fires.
I didn't even know.
Yes!
That was fucking crazy.
Unbelievable! Larry Bird at the buzzer!
Incredible. Now imagine if Bernard King had joined the Celtics back then. Oh, what could have been. Unfortunately, we'll never really know. But since Bernard King and Larry Bird couldn't be teammates, they had to continue being enemies until the bitter end.
Puts a pass broken up by King. Out of the air, Roma over the ball. Comes the other way. Beats the King. He was really low breeze by Bird. And foul. Two very extremely intense competitors. King glared for a moment once he was on the deck. Bird reached down to help him up. King disdained the hand. Holy Toledo. No shooting. It was a common foul.
All right, that's it for the video, man. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, that was cool. That was a cool video. I didn't really see Bernard King's perspective. I don't know if I've seen Bernard King talk about Larry Bird. Maybe I have. I think there might have been another video Bernard King was talking about it, or maybe somebody else was talking about Bernard King and Larry Bird's matchup. But that was a good video. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, Larry Bird, it's always consistent what people say about him, other than Rodman. But Rodman's a head case. So it's like, yeah, but everybody else says he's the hardest player to guard. He talks trash. He has a high IQ. He thinks the game. He's one step ahead, maybe even 2 steps ahead. Yeah, so everybody says the same thing. It lands on the same perspective from everybody. Like, 'cause everybody has like the same type of opinion about Larry Bird 99.9% of the time. So yeah, it's just funny. Everybody has the same type of stories because he's consistent. He's a consistent pest on the court. Like, he's gonna get in your head. He's gonna score on you. He's gonna play defense. He's gonna die for the ball. He's gonna do everything he can to get the win and make you uncomfortable, talking trash and embarrassing you and exposing your defense. So yeah, that was a great video. I'm gonna say a prayer in the name of Jesus. I pray whoever's watching this video, bless them from the crown of their heads to the soles of their feet, allow them to be strong in their mind, body, and soul. Whatever life throws at them, allow them to be strong. And even if life doesn't make sense right now, you don't understand why stuff are happening, you just gotta pray and ask God to give you a sign, and read the Bible. Once you read the Bible, you understand Jesus, you understand God, and how he operates, and why things might happen. Things might not work out for you at the time, but doors will open once you have the best attitude possible and you trust in God and you have that hope and you have that love for God. And love is the most important thing. Keep that love in your heart and not the hate. In the name of Jesus, I pray. I pray that everybody receives this prayer. Amen. So stay blessed, stay lit, and I'm out.